is SportsCenter with Sage Steele and Kevin Nagandi.
And we have breaking news to begin the show. The Big Ten Conference has officially voted to eliminate the minimum games requirement to play in the conference title game. And that means fourth-ranked Ohio State, the Buckeyes, do indeed maintain their hopes of a conference championship as well as a national championship. So that is awesome news for Buckeye Nation. Not so great for a few others as the Big Ten changes its rules amidst the chaos of 2020.
You know, Sage, since losing last year in the semifinals, all Ohio State has wanted was a chance to get back to the playoff. One possible roadblock is out of the way. It's our breaking news here tonight following a vote by the Big Ten to eliminate the game requirement to advance to the conference championship. Ohio State will face Northwestern in the Big Ten title game on Saturday, December 19th. Michigan was forced to cancel Saturday's game against Ohio State due to COVID-19. But since the undefeated Buckeyes had already beaten Indiana, the second best team in the East, the conference determined that Ohio State is the division champ. So far, Ohio State is 5-0. They remain fourth in the latest college football playoff rankings from last night. The Buckeyes will play their fourth consecutive Big Ten title game. Ohio State is seeking to make its fourth college football playoff appearance in 7 years. And college sports reporter Heather Dinich is joining us now with much more. So what more can you tell us about this vote today and this decision by the Big Ten?
Well, the 14 athletic directors met this morning, and one of the things that they talked about and recognized was that even if Ohio State played Michigan, win or lose, they would still be leading the Big Ten East and earn a spot in that championship game. So that was really a big part of it, but the decision was also made in conjunction with senior women administrators and ultimately the nod of approval from the university presidents and chancellors. I spoke with CFP Chair Gary Barta today, who is also the Iowa athletic director, and he told me that he recused himself from this discussion and the vote, but he did participate in the video conference. You might remember we all saw Gary Barta last night on TV on the ranking show because he's the chair of that committee, but he called Kevin Warren, the Big Ten commissioner, and told him, look, I'm going to be on this call, but I'm recusing myself and Iowa from it because of this role.
Okay, we also knew that potentially down the road, Ohio State, Iowa, Ohio State, Texas A&M. That's what we were kind of envisioning here. Let's talk about the playoff committee. You know how they work. How important, especially when we go with the words eye test, how important does a conference championship help the Buckeyes in this playoff discussion?
Well, let's start with this. The selection committee's job is to select the 4 best teams. As it is written in their protocol, that's their job. Not the teams that played the most games or had the fewest positive test results or started their season in September. The best teams, and Ohio State might be one of those teams. Now, the eye test is going to play a bigger role this year than ever before. The added bonus of putting a conference championship on your resume can come in very handy for the Buckeyes if the SEC and the ACC both have 2 teams in contention, because I can tell you right now, if Clemson beats Notre Dame and Florida beats Alabama and the Irish get into a debate with Ohio State having played a significant number more of games, that Big Ten title could be a big factor in the final decision for that 4th spot.
How about the 2 blue bloods and a debate for the 4th spot if that scenario plays out, of course, December 19th, heading into December 20th. Heather, thank you so much. Sage?
To the NBA, Kevin, where the countdown continues for Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks. Just 12 days till the deadline for him to accept a max deal to stay in Milwaukee long term. On that note, look at what they've done to try to convince him to stay. First, they traded for point guard Drew Holiday from the Pelicans, a former All-Star, 2-time All-Defensive player who can bring some stability to that Bucks backcourt. Milwaukee almost pulled off another significant trade after it was reported that they had reached an agreement with the Kings for guard Bogdan Bogdanovic. But that deal hit a snag a day later, and Bogdanovic ended up signing with the Atlanta Hawks. The Bucks weren't done, though. They signed some veteran players to add depth, such as DJ Augustin, Bryn Forbes, and Bobby Portis. But the question remains, will this be enough to keep Giannis in Milwaukee. Let's go through the Supermax again. This offer from the Bucks is for 5 years, almost $230 million. That's a 1-year difference of almost $85 million for that extra year compared to what he could get if he ended up going to another team by trade or free agency next summer. Again, if he does elect to become a free agent, that Supermax deal with Milwaukee would still be on the table. Giannis speaking today to the media for the first time since training camp began. Listen.
Obviously, it's a big decision, as I said earlier, but I just try to focus on what I can do. This is not in my hands. The discussion is between my agent, John Horst, the Bucks ownership, and they're taking care of that. I'm not trying to speed up the process. I'm not trying to be involved in that. Obviously, it's something that stresses every player out. And as you said, this is on my mind, but it's not on my mind. I try to put it out of my mind. And you're the guys that ask me these questions all the time. So you guys put it back on my mind. But as I said, they're going to handle those discussions. I'm going to handle what I got to do on the court. And everything's going to be good.
How do you categorize these last 2 years? And do you look at this season as like a championship or bust situation for you guys?
Obviously, everybody wants to win a championship. I'm not playing not to win a championship. I'm not playing to be second or third or fifth. Now I'm playing to be the best. Last year, we wasn't ourselves. What we showed in the bubble wasn't ourselves, and we wasn't even close to what we can do. Going into the season, our main focus, obviously, is the championship. But before even that, we got to get better. I don't believe it's a championship or a bad situation. Obviously, everybody wants to win a championship. I want to win a championship. There's nobody who wants to win a championship more than me. I can guarantee you that. But there's steps to that. You got to keep improving. You got to keep getting better, and hopefully we can get there this year.
Let's bring in our Malika Andrews for more on Giannis and his big decision. Malika, as you watched him field those questions about his contract, what stood out to you?
Well, remember, Sage, he has never been in this scenario before. To field questions about his future in this way is something that is foreign to Giannis. But what stood out to me is that he continues to talk about and go back to the same key principles that have guided him over the course of his career thus far. And that is, this is a guy who wants to win. And that is what he was continuing to hammer today when he was talking to us. He continued to say, you know what? I am going to let my agent Alex Saratzis handle what is going on with my contract situation. As long as I see a window to win, that is what matters to me. You just heard him say he is not playing for second. There's a little bit of a fire that's been lit within this Bucks organization. I'm told that you can see it actually every day in practice after what happened in the bubble. So that's really what stood out from what Giannis was saying. He's not trying to be front and center talking about this contract every day. He wants the proof to be in the pudding and to see it out on the court.
His birthday was Sunday, and the fact that his teammates gave him pens as a birthday gift, I think, is brilliant. So that's the question, and he's not going to tell us the answer, but you've been around him for a long time, Malika. You know him quite well. What do you think? Is he going to use one of those birthday pens to sign this Supermax by the deadline on December 21st?
Well, he said at first I wasn't sure what it meant. I didn't get it.
Really?
And then I got another pen and another pen. Yeah, exactly. And then I thought it was funny, and then I thought it got old. He knows that everyone within the organization is waiting with bated breath to see whether or not he is going to sign this contract. And I'm not going to get on here and make proclamations about what he is or isn't going to do. What I can tell you is this, Sage. This is a guy that at the end of the day, he loves Milwaukee and he loves to win. And so if those two things can be on the same side of the scale, then that's great. And that's what he's continuing to weigh and assess, and trusting his agent Alex Saratzis to continue to weigh and assess. But until then, make no mistake, even if Giannis continues to talk about, I just want to play basketball, everyone around him, the rest of the NBA world, is going to be waiting and watching, because this is a big decision that impacts the entire league.
Yeah, the entire league. Interesting to hear him say that it isn't a championship or bust situation in Milwaukee as well. So, listen, in the next 12 days, he might not like it, but the questions will continue to be asked, and I know you'll be there to report on it. Malika Andrews, thank you.
Say the other top headlines today. James Harden must have 6 consecutive negative COVID-19 tests before the NBA clears him to practice with the Rockets. A league source telling Tim McMahon today. The 8-time All-Star, who has requested to be traded to a contender, could be cleared as early as Monday. The surging Giants are optimistic that Daniel Jones could play Sunday against the Cardinals. Jones suffered a hamstring injury and missed Sunday's win at Seattle. New York has won 4 in a row. James Conner activated off the COVID-19 list by the Steelers. Out since November 28th, Conner missed 2 games, including Pittsburgh's first loss of the season Monday against Washington. And college football news, Indiana and Purdue mutually agreed to cancel Saturday's game amid an increase in COVID-19 cases at both schools. This was the last scheduled game in the regular season for both the Hoosiers and Boilermakers.
Still to come on SportsCenter. Stand by for PTI's bonus topic. Tony and Mike assess the final stretch of the NFL MVP race. Will Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers win this year's award? Plus, Eagles QB Jalen Hurts sets the stage for his first NFL start. Hear how the rookie is approaching Sunday's matchup with the first-place Saints after replacing Carson Wentz. And Coach K expresses his concerns for the state of college basketball. Jay Billis reacts to the powerful words from the legendary coach on the decision to power through the season. SportsCenter continues next.